Hello and welcome back to Carbonite U. In this Carbonite Ultra U video, we're going to cover the system reference menu and how it looks when you have the base I/O configuration and how you first assign those to either inputs or outputs. Let's jump right into it. Now that we've selected our switcher mode and we're operating in the HD sample rate converter mode, we have to go to our reference page. This is where we get to pick from the available video processor modes. What you'll notice is that in this mode, I now have the option of picking any of my HD video rates. These include 1.5 as well as 3 gig data rates and all of the frequencies that we support within them. Also, you get to pick where your reference source comes from. I don't have a separate external reference generator. For the devices that do accept output reference, so they have a Genlock input on them, I'm able to set up a 1080i tri-level sync, or if I was operating 720p, a 720p, or even Blackburst NTSC. If we were inside of a 50 Hz or PAL data rate, we would see PAL here. You're also able to adjust your HMV settings for that output to time sources better into the system timing window. When I've got the base license, so here in the HD mode, I have the standard offering of 8 I/O processors. When I upgrade those, I get one for every single input, and then I also have a fixed number on outputs. Since we have a limited I/O count, what we're able to do is select where we want these processors to be applied. Now, it's a processor because it not only can apply a frame sync and format converter, but it's also how you are able to access the proc amps and color correctors. Once you've assigned those processors, when you go to your inputs page, that's where you'll see that they have been configured and applied. And now I'm able to pick whether it's to operate in SDI with no frame sync, where maybe it has Genlock, but I still want to be able to apply proc amp and color correctors to it. Well, I'd still have to assign that I/O processor, but I would now have the flexibility of going to the proc amp menu to control it. When we assign them to outputs, we will also be able to come into the output menu and find them here. So really quick, say we assign one to our output 6. When we come to our output menu, we now see that output converter is available for us. Now that we've got all our licenses back and all the features open back up, let's go back into dashboard and have a look how things have now changed for us in the reference menu. Now when we come back into our reference menu, we'll see that we only have the video mode to configure, same as before, based on which video switcher mode we're operating in. We've got our reference output configuration and our reference source. But we no longer see the configuration in our HD mode for the I/O processing. Now that we are licensed for a processor, up to 34 of them when operating in SD and HD, when we go to the input side, we'll find out that every single input now has a dedicated frame sync format converter, as well as frame delay of up to 7 frames. In our proc amp and color correcting menu, we now have every single source available to us. So if we need to color correct or proc amp this camera, we can pick the proc amp or the color corrector, we can turn it on, and then we can adjust the offset that we want to apply. Same thing for outputs. If we find that we need to modify the output, say we're feeding an onset monitor, we can come in and we have access to those same proc amp controls as well as color corrector controls that we can apply to the outgoing video. When we come to our output menu, we also have these 2 rows. What audio mix we're assigning, but also which conversion we're applying. So you can apply conversion as well. However, do note that depending on which mode you're in, if you're in the HD sample rate converter mode, then when you come to the outputs, only your first two outputs will have conversion and color correction proc amp available to it. The rest of the outputs are unable to provide this processing because those resources have been used to create the sample rate converters. If none of my inputs require frame syncs to maintain audio for the sources that need a frame sync, then you can just operate in the HD mode. And if I'm just in the HD mode, I will get every single one of those outputs a converter back. Well, there you have it. Pretty straightforward on how to set up and configure your input and output I/O processing. Whether you're in the base 8 I/O shared processor mode, or you have the full license with access for every input and output, this is how you set it up. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, please send those to switchers@rossvideo.com, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.